for looking at this idea is called the koshas. And kosha kind of translates to sheath or layer. So in the model, there are 5 different layers, and then there is like a central point to each person. And I thought this morning I would lead you through a meditation from the outside in. So we're going to start on the gross level of the physical body, and we're going to move into through the subtle layers, the subtle body, into our innermost self in 15 minutes. That easy. So since this is a nice relaxed meditation, you could sit up on your couch, you could lie down on the floor. I'm a big fan of laying down for this one because that way you're not distracted by your physical body really in any way. So lying down on the floor, maybe with a pillow underneath your knees, a pillow underneath your head, and a blanket on top of you could be good. Or if you are kind of up and at 'em and seated meditation position feels like the right thing for you, then go ahead and take that seated meditation. And we will just begin by, kind of getting the wiggles out and positioning yourself in a way that feels really comfortable and really nice. All right. A little bit of time here to settle. A little bit of time here to breathe. Maybe you take a couple of super deep inhales in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, just beginning by noticing your physical body either sitting up here or lying on the floor. Your physical body, noticing where it connects to the floor or whatever is underneath it. And just for a moment, you might touch into, how is your physical body feeling this morning? You might have spent some time this weekend doing work around the house, around your yard, doing some kind of manual labor. Maybe you went to work this weekend. Right? Thinking about your physical body, this kind of vehicle, this vessel for your experience in this world. How is it doing? Does it feel good? Are you experiencing aches and pains this morning? There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong way to be. Maybe this morning you woke up in a body that feels really uncomfortable to be in. The point here is that we are just trying to notice, right? We are just trying to take notice of how things are feeling in your physical body, on the floor, or in your chair. Your physical body, your home. Okay, this is called monomaya kosha. I'm taking a few more deep breaths here. Anamaya kosha it translates to food sheath, which is kind of funny to think of our bodies as a food sheath or a food layer. But what that means is that it is nourished by the food that we eat. All right. So you might think for a minute here about the food that you are using to fuel yourself, giving thanks for it. Good. And giving thanks for your physical body this morning on this day. Thank you, body, for carrying me through my life. Good. And now just shift your attention away from your physical body and the way that it is touching down into the floor or to the chair, shifting your attention now to the sound of your breath. The sound of your breath as it comes and goes. Maybe your breathing is kind of shallow today or choppy, or maybe your breath is really big and full and smooth. And just like we notice the physical body, notice the breath with some honesty here. You maybe even try not to manipulate your breath. You might decide to just let it be. You don't necessarily need to do anything with it, but just take notice. In yoga, we have this concept called prana, and prana is loosely translated to like life force or energy or breath, but we're not necessarily talking about the breath that you breathe in and breathe out. We're talking about more of like a capital B kind of breath. Breath meaning this vital energy, right? And this layer of yourself is called pranamaya kosha. This is your breath body. It is fed by breath work techniques or noticing your breath. And your breath, the breath that comes and goes, is directly linked in with how you're feeling. So when you notice your breath, if it feels a little shallow, if it feels a little choppy, it's a sign that maybe you are feeling stressed, or you're feeling tired, or feeling nervous or anxious about something. If your breathing is feeling pretty big and full, that might mean that you got a good night's sleep, or that you just tied up the loose ends of something, or that you were feeling pretty good. So taking notice here. Wonderful. And why don't we close out our time with pranamaya kosha, or our breath layer, by taking a few really deep breaths. So let's think about breathing in through the nose, filling all the way up, feeling that breath expand your physical body outward. And a deep breath out, emptying out. Let's take 4 more of those. Big inhale. And exhale. Good. 3 more. Breathe in. And breathe out. Good. Breathe in. And out. 1 more deep breath. Wonderful. We'll move along to the next layer in, which is manomaya kosha, or your mental layer, your mental sheath. Okay, this is the part of you that is the thinking mind, right? This is all of the thoughts that buzz around within you, in your head, in your body. The quality of our thoughts absolutely affects the way we breathe. It affects the way our physical body feels. So just for a little while here, take notice of the quality and the qualities, I guess I should say, of the thoughts that are passing through your mind. Might be helpful to think about, the thoughts as having either like a sharpness or a dullness, a steadiness or a shakiness. Are they coming and going very quickly, or are your thoughts slow moving? And is there some space in between your thoughts, or are they just kind of crammed in there? Taking notice of the state of your mind this morning. And in yoga, we recognize that we are not our thoughts, right? That while our thoughts are valid, while they are there for us to experience, that we don't necessarily have to become them, right? We recognize that they are kind of their own thing. So seeing if we can place a little bit of space in between our thoughts by adding some breath. Right? So every time you notice a thought, which is fine, thoughts come, thoughts go, notice your breath too. Your thought goes by, and a breath comes in and a breath goes out. The thought pops up, no matter how big or small, no matter how scary or completely harmless. A breath comes in, a breath goes out. And breathing some space in between the thoughts. And in doing so, sort of cleansing this layer a little bit. And sometimes we can become very sticky with our thoughts. And our thoughts kind of crowd us. So using the breath here to really expand out, to keep those thoughts from becoming too sticky, and too tricky. Good. Why don't we take another 10 big breaths here, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose if that's possible for you. If not, breathe out through the mouth. Good, and the thoughts will come and you'll look at them, but then you'll breathe. One thing that I think is really important to know about the layers or the koshas is that they are all kind of interconnected. There isn't a whole lot of separation between these things. Okay, there are some, some boundaries, some guidelines between them, but they all affect one another. So when we breathe deeply, it affects both our physical body. It helps to bring a little bit more peace and tranquility to our physical body. But it also helps to kind of relax the mind as well. Okay, give us a little bit more space from our thoughts, between our thoughts. The breath is a powerful tool. Good. 3 more breaths here. Good. So we've worked through Annamaya Kosha, our physical body, Pranamaya Kosha, our breath layer, Manomaya Kosha, or our mental sheath. And now we're going to go down a little bit deeper, just underneath the thoughts. And once we learn how to space out those thoughts a little bit, we find ourselves with some more clarity. The next layer down is called Vijnanamaya Kosha, which kind of translates to intellect, your intellectual sheath, but this doesn't mean the stuff you read in books. This is not that kind of intellect. Okay, while that's important, what we are referring to here is our own inner wisdom. Our own inner wisdom. And if we have kind of soothed our physical body, if we have begun to take slightly deeper breaths to calm our mind down, then we can begin to touch into what we know to be true for ourselves. What does your deeper wisdom tell you? What is true for you? And this requires some radical honesty, I think. Sometimes what's true for us is really kind of ugly, right? Or scary. Sometimes what's true for us feels empowering, though. I do know that once we hit this layer, once we kind of inquire of this layer, of our own wisdom, what is true for us, we then have no choice but to act on that, right? And it might take time. It might take getting over some fear. Okay, but what is true for you today in this body with this breath for you? A little bit of time to put words to that idea. What is true for you today in this body, in this place, in this time? Just for now, can you listen to your deeper wisdom? This voice that's always there, but sometimes gets drowned out. Sometimes we purposely ignore it. Sometimes we go against our own inner wisdom. Just for now, let it have a voice. Let it be important. What do you know? What is true for you? And let's take a few more breaths with that. Wonderful. And then let's go one more layer down into the deepest part of ourselves, which is Anandamaya Kosha, or your bliss body, or your bliss layer. Right. And your bliss layer is made up of all of the things that bring you joy, that help you to feel more connected with something greater than just yourself. So what are the things? What are the things that bring you that sense of connection? All right, of not being alone. I've gone through whole periods of my life where I've kind of been separated from this part of myself. So if it's hard for you to come up with those things, it's okay. I feel like inquiring here, though, is the first step to doing the thing, right? What is the thing? What are the things you can do to feel connected to something greater than yourself? Whether you think of that as the universe or humanity or God, or really there, you can fill in the blank there, right? How do you connect to something greater than yourself? And just allowing yourself to kind of visit those activities, those places, those people, those things that help you to feel more connected in your mind. For me, there's a very specific place that I go in my mind when I think of this particular exercise. It's the creek behind my parents' house, which for my whole life has provided me with a place where I feel peaceful. So you might go to a specific place here for a moment where you can touch in on that sense of bliss, and then notice how your body feels when you are in that place or when you are doing that thing. And notice how your breath is moving through you when you are kind of visiting, touching in on your blissful place, your blissful activities. Notice the contents of your mind. And notice how closely linked what you know to be true is with the places, the activities that bring you bliss. Look at how closely linked they are. And see if you can just kind of keep a mental record here of those blissful things. As if you were writing them down to remind yourself of them as your day goes on, as your week goes on, as this year goes on. You're kind of keeping a record so that whenever you feel stuck, whenever you feel stagnant, whenever you are feeling stressed, you can revisit these places, these activities, these people in your mind's eye, or maybe in real life. Just a few more breaths. Wonderful. And then when you are ready, allow your eyes to open if they were closed. And it's time to move along with the rest of our day and our week. I'll be back on Friday morning for some yin and meditation. And we've got so many classes at Abide, both on Zoom, in Abide's backyard, just behind the studio. And this week coming up, we actually also have a summer solstice celebration, which is at my house on the front lawn. And there's still just a handful of spots left for that. So if you're interested, feel free to shoot Abide a DM. You can call me, you can text me, you can ride your bike by my house and call out to me, whatever works. I hope to see you all really soon. All right. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.